Hello again, my fight aficionados. I'm Jason Burgos for Sherdog.com, and tonight I am joined by a former Combate Americas bantamweight champion, Copa Combate finalist, and Dana White's Contender Series veteran. And this man will now be making his UFC debut on Fight Island on July 25th, where he will take on a former Cage Warriors champion in Nathaniel Wood. And that man is the sexy Mexi himself, John Castaneda. Mr. Mexi, sir. Thank you for the time tonight, and
Absolutely.
congratulations on this UFC contract.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean it's been a long time coming, but we're in, and we're ready to make some noise. Absolutely.
And I definitely want to talk about a long time coming because it's an interesting story, something like that too. But before we get into this UFC opportunity coming up, I wanted to talk about your tenure with Combate and leaving the promotion. You're not the first former bantamweight champion to leave the promotion in the last month or so. Gustavo Lopez also made the jump to the UFC, although there was some controversy around those circumstances.
Absolutely.
What was the situation that brought you or your tenure with Combate to an end? Was your contract up? Did they just not, address a booking within a certain amount of time that your contract states, or were you released from Combate?
So I was under contract up until my last fight in 2019 with them, where I fought Marcelo Rojo. Up until that point, there was a couple of clauses in my contract with Combates that, they were just overlooked by the company. Offering me fights as often as, 3 months. That was a clause in my contract, and that wasn't done. And if it wasn't done, then I would receive some sort of compensation, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to get into the details of that. Long story short, after my last fight, we asked for a release from the promotion. We got the release from the promotion. And this last year, really, I've just kind of been a free agent. I've gotten a couple opportunities this last year. I wouldn't say opportunities, but just chances to put my name in the hat, and put my name in the mix for last minute fights. And I don't know I've never been the short notice kind of guy. And it's not because I'm not training. I'm always training. I am always training year round, whether I got a fight or not. It's 100% correlated to weight. If they're offering me a 10-day fight, 2-week fight, usually I can't make the weight in that quickly, and I could probably make it, but I'd be sacrificing a lot of, a performance essentially, you know what I mean? So, long story short, I've gotten a couple offers this past year and last year, and I was like, man, I'm sick of saying no. So last couple, I'd say 8 to 10 weeks ago, I caught wind of the Abu Dhabi fights, and I was like, man, there's going to be 4 fights on this secluded island. I was thinking it's going to be, COVID was just starting, or I'm sorry, we were in the mix of COVID. Yeah. There's bound to be fights, getting canceled. There's got to be some bantamweights out there that are going to, have to pull out, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I made like a mental note, and I pretended like I signed a UFC contract, and I was getting ready for a fight. You know what I mean? I started camp. I started my weight cut, and sure enough, here we are. You know what I mean? It happened just like I played it out. We put in a full camp. I got an opportunity to seize the moment, and here we are.
And that's fascinating to know that too, and that's how it worked out. Because that's the thing I was going to ask you about. Because it was crazy. Because you had like an 8-fight winning streak going into Contender Series. You win in the Contender Series. UFC passes on you. Then you go into the Copa Combate, become a finalist and stuff like that. And then you split 2 fights out. That's fascinating. Because I wondered if it was a thing like, is it just weird circumstance, like, oh, finally they're giving you a chance, but more it was you saying like, you know what, this is the right time, let me jump into it right now. And that's an awesome thing to know too. But to see 2 stars of Combate and champions from the same division leave, do you just even on a fan in the industry level have concerns about Combate's future? They will finally start back up next month, but the promotion is based around the lower weight classes, and to lose 2 talents like that's a big hit for a company like them.
It is. It really is, especially losing a champion like Gustavo Lopez. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing is that I know a couple other guys, some of their bigger names, even in the same weight division, Marcelo Rojo, Jose Alday, a bunch of these top 3 guys in that division are looking for an out. You know what I mean? Mm. They're looking for elsewhere. And I'm not saying that, I'm not talking out of my, my behind. I see their posts. I see their posts on social media like, hey, UFC, give me a shot. You know what I mean? That obviously screams, I'm ready to move on. And so you, the I know that the UFC does got some really, really good talent at not only the 35 division, but the women's division.
Mm-hmm.
They got Melee Martinez there. I'm sure she wants out of there. I don't know. I don't know what's the future for Combate Americas. I know Campbell. He's a go getter. He's willing to put in so much time and effort into that company that maybe it will thrive and continue thriving. And I hope it does. I really hope it does. But here's the thing: is that it's so hard to compete with the UFC. It's so hard to compete with these other promotions. And here's the thing: every fighter, I feel like I can speak for a lot of fighters that when they start this journey, their end goal is the UFC. That was my end goal. I know that for a fact. I happened to get signed by Combate, and I was very grateful, and I was happy about it. You know what I mean? They paid me well. They gave me everything I needed, whatever. But then things started to kind of fall through, and eventually I was like, okay, well, I'm ready to move on. So yeah.
Now, how much do you feel that 11 fight run with them, prepared you for this big step up? I think many fans, don't give the organization the respect it probably does deserve, because you still got to compete on major networks around the world, represented them as a champion, been in big fights, stuff like that, one night tournament, like I mentioned. Do you feel as ready as can be to make this jump to the main stage? And why do you feel, if you do feel that Combate really did prepare you for this moment coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I think Combate absolutely helped me. I wouldn't say that it was the sole deciding factor as to what helped me helped me get here. But here's the thing: I've had 21 pro fights. I had 17 amateur fights. Yeah. You know what I mean? I've been in that cage more than 30 times. At the end of the day, this is just another fight. We have a full size octagon at our gym. This is the same thing. Like I said, I've already fought in the Contender Series as well. So the no crowd, I'm used to that as well. I've experienced it. This is just another day in the office. This isn't anything new to me. Same thing with my layoff. It's been a little bit over a year since I've stepped in that cage, but I have so much experience that doesn't really bother me. You know what I mean? I've done this literally over 30 times, over 35 times. This is nothing to me.
And what's interesting, you don't see that much anymore. Fighters that have so much experience going to UFC. You see guys on 5 fights, 6 fights, going to the UFC, and that's a big jump to make. Not everybody can be like Cain Velasquez, and that's even a different kind of division where the talent pool is not as strong. But if you could go back, do you feel like maybe this was the right way, because you are not only prepared on a mental level, having been, ahead of a promotion, the champion, stuff like that, but also just seeing so many things that at least now when you get to this level against such high level talent, do you feel like they're not going to show you something you haven't seen before, and you're prepared for everything?
Absolutely. When it comes to just competition at this level, I think that everybody is going to be well-rounded. There's no guys in there that are, superior strikers, but have really, really crappy wrestling or takedown. I feel like everybody in the UFC is just well-rounded. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I've fought obviously a handful of well-rounded guys. So yeah, I don't think that they're going to show me anything that I haven't already seen, but I'm going to see a lot more consistency within opponents for sure.
Yeah. Making a UFC debut brings a lot of anxiety, nervous excitement. It's something fighters work years to get to. In a way, does the fact that your fight will happen without fans and in this absolutely exotic locale like Fight Island make it easier to take some of that pressure off? You have to just focus on being locked in, staying COVID-19 clean, and just training. There won't be media day, all that pomp and circumstance. Do you see pros in that? Or are you, kind of disappointed that you won't get to taste that big UFC fight feeling that only UFC fights can bring? Just no one can bring it like the UFC does in that.
Right. No, absolutely. Well, here's the thing. I'm not really worried about it. I'm not really a big fan of like media and all that stuff anyways. I like to just, focus on my fight and just tune everything out. To be honest, I'm so calm and relaxed and until fight night, you know what I mean? And then I get a little bit of jitters, and that's every fight, you know what I mean? Every fight I'm super calm leading up to it. So the media, like not doing media and all that stuff, I think it definitely helps my case. Like I said, I've already done this before. I've done the no crowd. I've done everything. So yeah, I think it definitely helps a lot for sure.
This bout features, like I mentioned earlier, a former Cage Warriors bantamweight champion versus a Combate Americas champion. Nathaniel was on a good run in the UFC until the John Dodson setback. Is Nathaniel your toughest fight yet in terms of technique and skill, and why not? Do you feel he's the best? Is this not only just a step up in stage? Are you now making a step up in opponent's level too?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I watching his fights, he's a tough guy. He's absolutely tough, no doubt. You know what I mean? He's got strong striking. He's fast. He's quick. I've fought tough strikers. You know what I mean? And here's the thing: I'm not really impressed with his ground. I'm not impressed with. He has 3 submissions in the UFC. These guys that he's submitted and taken down, like, to be honest, they look like they don't know what they're doing in the jiu-jitsu game. Quinones was his last fight. Quinones is a good striker. He's from Mexico. He's from that really good training gym out in Mexico. But when I watched that fight, I was like, this guy literally got put to his side with a power half position. And this power half position he's used in all of his 3 submission wins. I don't think he has the advantage on the ground on me at all, to be honest. I think I have the advantage on the ground. I'm a lot quicker with transitions between on the ground than he is, for sure. I'm a lot more scrambling on the ground. I feel like my wrestling is higher caliber. I think that he's going to be one of the top guys that I've fought, for sure. But I wouldn't say I'm not scared. You know what I mean? He's a good guy, and I'm not selling him short by any means. But he's very beatable. He's very beatable.
And it's interesting. It kind of answers a question I was going to ask too, because in terms of, does he offer, like, is there something he's done in the past that you feel he won't be able to do to you? And you kind of just answered that. Some of the things he's done to win fights, you just don't see, it's going to happen against you. That said, are there elements of what he does that you've scouted and see that deserve your respect? That you go, shit, that's one area I need to be careful. If I fuck around too much, he'll get me there. Are there certain things he does have that you got to worry about?
Absolutely. His striking, you know what I mean? I think that he's a power striker. He's a forward striker, an aggressive striker. You know what I mean? He keeps coming forward, and a lot of these guys that have fought him, you can't beat a guy fighting backwards, especially a guy like him. You know what I mean? Who just keeps coming and keeps coming. But I have yet to see, besides Dodson, somebody push forward on him. You know what I mean? And I'm ready to do that. Yeah, I'm ready to do that. I'm ready. I can take power punches and I can give power punches, and ultimately it's going to see who can take more. And if he gets desperate, if he gets desperate and wants to wrestle, let's go. You know what I mean? I'm not worried about his wrestling or his takedown or his jiu-jitsu. I've been working my butt off these last 10 weeks. You have no idea. This is honestly, it's crazy how it played out. Like, I'm pretty sure, and I don't know how it works, but I want to say that when his opponent fell through, he had the option to choose an opponent. I'm not sure if that's how it works. I don't know if it was him or the UFC.
Right.
I have a feeling that it was him, and I have a feeling he chose me because he thought I was the easiest fight. But brother, I've been ready. I've been training my butt off, and it's going to be a rude awakening.
Now, I am a big fan of nicknames. When fighters don't have nicknames, I'm kind of annoyed by it. This is the perfect time to have a nickname. And I always love a nickname that has sexy, but it's for a dude. That's the best kind of nickname. Now, please tell me the origin story of how you became the Sexy Mexi. Who gave it to you? Why did they give it to you?
Absolutely. So my freshman year of college, I went to MSU down south in Minnesota. I gained a bunch of weight. They talk about the freshman 15, but I was like freshman 45. I gained a crap ton of weight. After the wrestling season, I joined the MMA team, and I decided that I wanted to just pursue MMA full time. All those hard practices and all that stuff, my coach noticed that I was losing a bunch of weight, and after a couple of weeks of me losing a ton of weight, he just said, "Wow, John, you're looking pretty lean. You're looking sexy. You're looking sexy. Oh, Sexy Mexi." And it just stuck,